Hey everybody, it's Illegal Lifty, and today let's brew our Costa Rica Las Lajas slow-dried natural Caturra. So once again, another Las Lajas coffee, and as we've come to expect from these coffees on filter, it wants to drain really fast, but it's also really soluble, so let it drain quickly. I wanted to balance some of this bright acidity and bring out more sweetness, and so I'm going to be brewing a variation of the 4-6 method with the Stagg X dripper. This double wall stainless steel is going to help maintain a really high thermal mass with our coffee bed, letting us get more sweetness and more complex flavors in this shorter brew time. So we'll be using 20 grams of this Las Lajas slow-dried natural ground medium. This is what I would grind for a Kalita Wave, a pretty standard like Colombian coffee maybe. This was 12 on a Baratza Encore, 22 clicks on your Comandante C40, and this was a 2 on the Ode grinder. All right, let's get started. We're gonna be brewing with 300 grams or milliliters total of water. And so you can use plenty of water to preheat this Stagg X. I'm gonna pour heavy straight in the middle, let it fill up about 3/4 full, almost to the top of that filter. Let it drain. I'm doing this so that we get a lot of heat built up into this brewer so that this first stage of bloom and second, third pulses are not going to be taking away a lot of heat. And instead, we're going to be using that energy for extraction. So let it drain, drain, drain. Grind your coffee. This is a really fragrant coffee. It's pretty floral and fruity there in the aroma already. If you've brewed with the Stagg X or watched one of these recipes before, I recommend lifting up your paper filter just a little bit to make sure you've not clogged or you're uneven over these holes in your Stagg. Dump that water. Let's dose our coffee. And that's 20 grams, which can feel like a lot in the Stagg brewer, but we're going to be separating this into several smaller pulses before we get into our larger pulses for this recipe. Shake that brewer flat, give it a tap, tear your scale, timer set to 0, and let's brew. So my first pour, my bloom, is going to be 40 grams. I hang out here in the middle, a little bit longer than usual, work my way to the outside, touching all the coffee, stopping at 40. And I'm gonna let this go for 20 seconds. At 20, I'm gonna hit another 40 grams, up to 80 grams total. Boom, drop it in, heavy in the middle, quick spiral, up to 80. And then at 40 seconds, I'm gonna do another 40 grams, up to 120. Drop heavy in the middle, spiral around to 120. So this is our 4 of the 4-6 method. We hit that 120, separated into 3 pulses to help lower this acidity and raise sweetness. Here in a minute, I'm gonna pour to 180, heavy in the middle. Drop in the middle, let it raise up, and then spiral around. Let this go to 120, and then another 60 gram pour. At this point, we should be draining much more quickly. Drop heavy. Should finish at 240. Still draining pretty quickly, and so at 140 should be plenty of time for me to hit my final pour, finishing up at 300 grams total. These last 3 pulses, I should never be seeing my water drain all the way through the coffee. If you are, then grind more finely for your next brew. That first stage of small pulses is going to help raise sweetness and decrease perceived acidity, because this is a very bright coffee, but I want more sweetness. And these last 3 pulses are pretty average in size, but they're helping raise this water level, drain really quickly. I should be done here by 2.5 minutes. It's a nice flat bed on this Stagg dripper. If your coffee drains too fast or it was draining through between those pulses, it's going to be a little bit weak and bright. It's going to be a little stringent on that acidity. If we grind too fine, it's draining way too slow, takes way too long, we extract more of this coffee than we want to, then we're going to get this kind of cough syrup or like medicinal herbal quality there on the front, and a very bitter, long-lasting finish. But when our coffee drains right and we're balanced, we're going to get really sweet strawberry puree and simple syrup. Think like hot strawberry preserves. Violet. And it's a very smooth and silky texture. Serve and enjoy.